The third asset class is real estate, and it takes many shapes and forms. As I said, the first important principle is the home you live in is not an investment. The home you live in is a dwelling and a necessity and will not come in the dashboard of investments that you have. Be clear about that. Having said that, real estate can take many shapes and form. You could own pieces of land, tracts of land. You could have a house on a land and get a return on it, initially through rentals and then through capital appreciation when you sell it. You could own commercial property, which is square feet of space or square meters of space in a large building, which you then lease it out for commerce. And you could also have derivatives like rights, real estate investment trust, where if you directly don't want to invest in land because of the difficulties involved, the bureaucracy involved, and the risks involved, you can buy units of rights. Rights are essentially like mutual fund, real estate investment trust, where underlying that is property owned by a company, which in turn is split into units, and that unit is sold to you as rights. So in some form you own land, but with an intermediary or a buffer between the actual land and yourself. So these are many ways, but more importantly, the characteristic of how real estate behaves is very country specific. It is also specific to the times we live in. One example specifically of India, there was a point in time that when you touched real estate, you could never go wrong because it appreciated all the time. No longer so. Today, there are places where there is surplus inventory of buildings and so on, and therefore prices of real estate has come down, especially if you are owning apartments or buildings. Second, land invariably can give you a reasonably good return, but it is extraordinarily illiquid. Also, in many countries like in India, there is no title insurance for property, and therefore when you buy a piece of land, you want to be absolutely sure that the title is clean, the property is clean, and therefore the transaction that has taken place is absolutely valid and legal. There could be substantial cost associated with it, and more importantly, even after all the due diligence, you could go wrong with this. And therefore, these are some of the considerations with regard to real estate. But I want to take you back to the mindset we talked about. Out of sight, out of mind is a good strategy, can apply to real estate. Sometimes real estate is bequeathed to you and you hold it because of lack of interest or whatever for a period of 20 years. And then you get a very tidy sum of money. When you work out the CAGR, compounded annual growth returns on this, you would find it may not be very high, 8%, 9%, 10%, but that is offset by the fact that by being illiquid, you kept it without touching it or using it for any consumptive purposes. And therefore you get a solid kitty at the end of it, which helps you in your living or which helps you in your retirement. So real estate decisions are very country specific. So therefore, rather than get into specific details on this, one can only say that being illiquid, it has its advantages. It can, in certain points in time, give you a fabulous return, especially if it is well chosen. And typically, they tend to be long-term investments. You don't trade on real estate. You don't buy and sell within a period of 6 months or 1 year, unless you have access to some information which others don't have, and therefore there is an arbitrage opportunity. Otherwise, these are long-term assets, and therefore you must treat it that way, knowing that you can't get cash out of them easily.
Thank you for watching. If you want to dive deeper into this topic and stay updated on our latest content, be sure to subscribe now. And if you found this video helpful, don't hesitate to share it with someone you know. Let's spread the knowledge and the fun together.